I want you to leave.
Oh yeah!
So I watched that new WandaVision show, and it actually didn't suck. I didn't exactly know how to approach this review because the first season was kind of all over the place. At first it started off with some weird, interesting concepts and ideas, and then it's an investigation type show, and then it's just hilarious. I'm going to try and keep this spoiler free at first, and then I'll go into some details of the plot later in the video. When I first saw the trailers for this show, I thought it was going to be poo-poo, so I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that this show is actually pretty good. To me, the first 3 episodes stand out as being the best in the show, and I know everybody's going to disagree with me on that, but I'll explain why I think this way later. I think that the subtlety and uniqueness of these episodes is what makes them special. By around episode 4, there's like a really big reveal, and for me it came a little too soon. This reveal makes me lose interest in the show pretty hard, but it didn't ruin it for me at all. In episode 5, there's a really interesting twist that happens, and then episode 6 is pretty fun. Then in episode 7, there's another really big reveal or twist or whatever you want to call it. This twist really didn't work for me, and honestly, I didn't think these last 3 episodes were very good. So that's really all I can talk about without spoiling the whole show, so if you want to see a score, skip to this timestamp. So like I said earlier, I think the first 3 episodes were the best. I think this because you have no idea what's going on, and your mind gets to fill in the gaps. The best season of Stranger Things is season 1 because you have no clue what's going on at first, and you get to learn the mysteries of the Upside Down and the Demogorgon along with the characters. These first 3 episodes also take place during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and it really works. These episodes really feel like an old sitcom from that era, and as someone that's watched reruns of old sitcoms, this just really feels right. It captures the essence of that old time. These first 3 episodes are such a breath of fresh air for Marvel, and if you just remove Infinity War, it really puts it in perspective how samey these movies can start to feel. If I had to score the show just based off of the first 3, it would honestly be a 9 out of 10, but we still have more episodes to get through that just didn't work for me. Explaining everything that's happening on a mystery show only by episode 4 is kind of annoying. My favorite part about the first 3 is that they were mysterious, and realizing that I wouldn't get any of that for the rest of the show was pretty disappointing. In my opinion, the first time we should have seen the world outside of the Hex is when Vision tried to escape in episode 6. If this is how it would have been done, I would have gone nuts, but it's not, and it makes the show feel really predictable when you know what's happening at pretty much all times. But you still do get thrown for a couple of twists. The obvious one being Evan Peters playing Quicksilver, which is actually pretty cool. I like him in X-Men, and I like him here as well. The second one being that Agnes or Agatha is a witch. I hate this very much. One of my favorite things that this show did is that it portrayed Wanda as being the main villain of the show. I like this because the MCU can feel kind of black and white most of the time, and this show felt like a new refreshing take on Marvel. And then all of a sudden, Agnes is the main antagonist. And episode 8 is probably the worst episode of the whole show, if I'm being honest. Not only is it uninteresting and super bland, but it is also unnecessary. This episode revolves around Agatha taking Wanda back in time to figure out how she created the Hex. We find out that the way she created it is that she just was really angry and sad and kind of went nuts, which is something we already knew. This is the second to last episode, and it honestly feels like filler. And episode 9 is not much of an improvement either. This episode revolves around Wanda fighting Agnes and Vision fighting White Vision. You know what this reminds me of? Yeah. And then fake Vision just reboots White Vision and makes him remember the events of Infinity War, and then White Vision just leaves, like he completely leaves the episode. And Wanda's fight is actually worse. 90% of this fight is just shooting lasers around. This is something that a lot of comic book movies suffer from though. They feel like they need to have this big final battle, and in reality I just wanted a refreshing take on Marvel. I had no desire to see Scarlet Witch fly around and shoot lasers. These episodes are also plagued with something else. Child actors. It is truly an anomaly to have a good child actor or a whole cast of good child actors. And I'm not trying to sound mean, but these kids are not that good. It's not entirely their fault because a lot of the writing seemed to get worse for them as well. So then Wanda gets rid of the hex and leaves, and all the townsfolk are mad at her, and then that's the end. I used to really like this show, and I would actually get excited when a new episode came out, but as of now, I couldn't care less about it. Any intrigue I had has been killed by bad writing. So yeah, 6 out of 10, pretty average. Goodbye.